Here, this make you all nostalgic?
This is actually before my time.
That is a winner, though.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back and welcome to episode 4 of The Last of Us, which is titled Hold On My Hand. Now, there's some things that I really want out of this episode. Firstly, the title of the show is taken from the Hank Williams track, Alone and Forsaken, which features in the first game. So if they don't play that in this episode, I'm going to be so disappointed. But I'm sure it'll be in there somewhere. I'm just starting up the episode. I'm going to react to it in this one, and then we're going to review it afterwards. We're going to go over the fine details. We're going to go over my favourite comparisons. So without further ado, let's get into this episode and we'll take it from there. Pew pew, the gun that she got from Bill and Frank's. Bit of a taxi driver vibe right there in front of the mirror. That's quite funny. Oh wow, she's like curious about everything and like inquisitive about everything she looks at. She's killing the role. Even the simplest of scenes, the mech look absolutely fantastic.
We have to do this every hour?
Yeah, this breaks down over time. This stuff's
Always questioning.
Back in the day, we'd drive 10, 12 hours on one tank. You could go anywhere.
I like how he explains that it's like turned more or less to water and it's not as useful as it once were.
It's when liquid.
Oh, it's the pun book.
It doesn't matter how much you push.
I'm really hoping that they fetch this into it, actually.
No pun intended.
It looks it's exactly the same as it is in the game, the book.
Volume 2. Look, you get it? 2? Like T-O-O?
She's just going to keep winding him up, breaking into a joke every now and then. Look how uncomfortable he is, it's so funny.
Analogy, bro.
Even using the same jokes.
I did a ball
His face.
No.
wondering where the sun went. And then it dawned on me.
Feel free to wait in the truck.
Okay, I just know.
That's what we're hoping for in this episode. A lot of character building. I just really hope that they do the scene in the car, which I think might be coming up, and use the music as well. I really wanted the Hank Williams tune to come on for this.
I got some.
Oh, here we go.
Here.
It's got to
Does
be.
make you all nostalgic?
Yes, Alone and Forsaken, the Hank Williams track.
Right.
This is the parallel to the game, this scene right here. It's going to be the best one of the show, it's got to be. It's one of my favourites in the first game. This is amazing. Is she going to get the magazine? She's got the magazine.
It's light on the reading, but it has some interesting pictures.
Oh, no. Put that back. That's not for kids.
How do you even walk around with that thing?
Please get rid of it.
Owns your horses.
This
I
is
wanna see
great.
what all the fuss is about. Why are all these pages stuck together?
Just like the game. It's absolutely fantastic. And at that point you realise they're going to Pittsburgh, but in the show it's Kansas. I love this song. I really like this song. Buffalo. Oh, look at the scenes, man. I'll never get tired of the scenes in this show. They have nailed it. Absolutely. Look at that. That's fantastic. That bridge right there. There's a nod to the Pittsburgh scenes in the game. The bridge that you have to aim to get to. Definitely. FedEx depot. Oh, she got to see her tanks. Maybe not quite what she were expecting. I saw that train in the trailer. Just looks epic. I love that music. They were using it in the last episode when you were down at the river at the beginning. It's these kind of scenes that are really cool that break it up like the game couldn't. Like, you can't do that in a game really because you kind of need it to flow. Hungry.
Slow down.
What am I even eating?
That is 20-year-old Chef Boyardee ravioli.
Not
Bit of ravioli action.
I actually agree.
So what are they going to do, rob us?
Well, they'll have way more in mind than that.
Grim reality. Yeah, she don't like that.
Hey.
Oh, she's going to get the joke book out again. Who else has got the trophy on the PlayStation for the jokes? Let me know in comments. No pun intended, as it's called. I think. Might have to correct me on that actually. That's all. That's all I've got. Actually, I think that's what it's called. Just gonna wake him up to tell him a joke.
Joe,
What?
can I ask you this question?
Yeah.
Why did this scarecrow get an award?
Her face.
Because he was outstanding in his field.
You dick. Did you read this?
He didn't know any of them in the game. That's quite cool. How they've turned it on its head, so he does know. See, if they just did character building scenes like this all the way through, and no action, I'd be happy, because this is what it needs for these characters. This game.
There's no way anyone knows we're here, right?
Still, she's scared. You know, it comes out every now and then. So that Gustavo music kicking in. That guy's a genius. Love that guy's music in the games. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm really glad they've got him on board with this. Now, if I know Joel from the game, that's going to be some coffee. There's a few nods to drinking coffee in the game.
What the fuck is that?
You don't like coffee?
Back on the road in the Chevy.
Tommy's what we used to call a joiner. Dreams of becoming a hero. So he enlists in the army right out of high school. A few months later, they ship him off to Desert Storm. That's what they call that war. It doesn't matter.
Hence the bumper sticker on the car in the first episode.
Didn't make him feel much like a hero. Cut to 12
It's
years
cool,
later,
telling some
Captain
backstory.
convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did. Mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive. That's where we met Tess. And that whole crew.
Tess.
Well, for what it was, it worked. And then Tommy meets Marlene. She talks me to joining the Fireflies. Same mistake you made in safety.
Joel's a bit resentful of Marlene.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on? I mean, you gotta try, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It's from the trailer, that.
Keep going for family.
Exactly.
That's about it.
I'm not family.
No. Your cargo.
Brutal.
What if you don't find him?
I will.
How do you know?
I'm
That's
persistent.
upset her a little.
You got up pretty early if you want to grab more sleep.
I'm not even tired.
Get ready. That's exactly what happens in the game. Funny, man. These guys are they're just nailing these characters. But you just know now as a fan of the game, this is where it's all gonna go wrong. Setting it up for an ambush. So they're using Kansas instead of Pittsburgh. We'll talk about that later. Abandoned QZ. Now Joel knows there's something wrong.
Put your seatbelt on.
He ain't even hurt.
No.
No, it's all going wrong. Oh, straight over the nails. That's it. The car is no good now. Definitely needs the national tyres.
Are you okay?
Change them
You're not
up.
hurt, nothing.
I don't think so.
Pin down.
Go!
Go, 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 go. Come on, Joel. That's it. One down. You see, in the game at this point, you'd be fighting like 10 or 20 enemies. But he needs to have that more real feel to it, obviously, for a TV show. So far, this episode's really good, and it is very much quite parallel to the game, actually. Oh, bang. Oh, I know. Oh, this is what they're gonna do. This is early for this to happen, right here. She's thinking about the gun. Shoot in the back.
Tell everyone you're good. I don't know what to do.
It's making you feel for the enemy. They're good at doing that in this story.
You can get me to her.
Talking about his
We
mom.
can trade with you guys. We can be friends. I didn't know. I'm Brian. What's your name?
Your days are numbered, Brian. He's not happy because of the gun thing.
Behind the wall.
No, I'm sorry.
Joel's gonna kill him.
We can just talk. I'm sorry. Please. No, please.
Whoa,
I'm sorry.
brutal.
I'm sorry, please. Don't have to. I'm sorry. No, really stop. Please stop.
I shout for his mom. Knife. Brutal.
Gotta get in there. I can't fit through.
That's upsetting.
There's some stuff
She's
against
gonna-
the door.
When you move it.
She's dried her eyes and moved on. In the game, you work your way quite a ways through the city before that happens in the game. It's going to branch out into these people though, which it doesn't do in the game actually. Yeah, the Hunters, which is like another militia group, just overthrown the Fedra QZ.
I was alone. I haven't seen any of us since that night. What else do you want?
And here's Melanie Linsky. This is a new character for the show. Interested to see what they do with this character.
The Bergquists. No?
Talking about possible defectors or something.
You know where Henry is.
Henry as in Henry and Sam,
Lloyd,
definitely.
medical attention.
So they're going to tie them into this story differently for the show. By the looks of that.
It has to stop.
What has to stop now? Now
It's
that
like
you're-
Fedra's been replaced by something even worse, which is generally what happens in these situations.
When you were safe and protected and ratting at this.
We think it was outsiders.
Jeffrey Pierce, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not a fed.
Tommy from the game, basically.
Could be mercs.
You can sound like it's just
But
that
Henry
voice.
has a radio. Maybe he found someone out there. Maybe he called these guys in.
It's really cool that Jeffrey Pierce is in this, just like the Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker later in the series, giving them roles. I love that. What about the Doctor? She said then. Now she's going to take out her anger on this guy. Clearly, probably not a wise move considering the guy's a doctor.
Open it.
Yeah. Just like that. I must say that about Kathleen.
Free collaborator and kill them all.
Oh, look, the trucks, the old Fedra trucks and the run truck. Everybody knows the run truck who played the game. I'm not sure that Kathleen character's doing it for me though, you know. I don't know. Give her time, but
Right?
these are the best scenes. I love this sort of thing. Just doesn't know what to say. It's just all good for him.
Thing is, I didn't hear that guy coming. He shouldn't have had to. You know,
But you're glad I did, right?
you're just a kid. You should know what it means.
Pedro's so good as Joel.
It's not like you killed him.
So good.
And I'm sorry.
Apologising to her. Oh, that music, man, from the game. I should say again. That's honestly, I can't say enough good about Bella Ramsey in this show. She is nailed Ellie so well. These scenes are the best. I could do without the action, like I just said. I can just watch these scenes all day. Oh, spoiler alert, she's referring to Riley probably when she says that. Interesting. I think every episode so far, it's been mentioned like briefly about Riley. Well, it has. Oh, I love this. Team. They're a team
Finger.
helping her.
Now who taught you that?
Federal
Figures. Thumb. Look at.
That bond starting to come through. See, she was just wiping the tears away. Now she's really happy because Joel's showing her this, and it just makes her feel good. Confidence is coming back. It's brilliant. And again, it's much later in these scenes where he actually hands her a weapon.
You put it in your pack.
So she puts it in her pocket, of course. Oh man, I'm struggling with this Kathleen character. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, this will be where Henry and Sam will have been hiding out. I wonder in the show if they've got like much more of a relationship with this leader. It'd be interesting to see how that unfolds. Because it's not like that in the game. They're just passing through like Joel and Ellie really. Just trying to get through, stay safe. But they're obviously a much bigger part of this group in this story, so it's interesting what they're doing with it. The plot thickens. Something's underground. Something's definitely underground.
Fuck.
Spoiler alert, that's going to be the blower, I think.
Seal off the building.
She's got tunnel vision on the old Henry Sam thing, and
Okay.
there's obviously bigger issues at hand. But you just know they're going to run into Henry and Sam. That's nailed on.
Find our way out.
Did you kill him?
Yeah. He's going to gloss over that one.
Come on.
I'm glad they put that in there.
gonna
He's knackered.
Come on.
Give me a minute.
Get up here.
Lazy ass. So it's not showing him as a superhero. I like that. You know, he's a struggling guy.
56 years old, you little shit.
56 years old.
What did you mean it wasn't your first time?
She's definitely talking about Riley. That's going to be a good scene when they show that in a future episode. That he's laughing. This is such a good scene. I really like this one.
Fucking stupid.
You laugh, motherfucker.
Oh man.
Yes, you do.
Jeez.
Honestly, that's probably my favourite scene of the show. That's really good. That's excellent. I love the character building in this episode. It needs it, this story. It's got to have that big character building for it to pay off. Oh, the glass didn't work then. It's Henry and Sam. That's how it'll end, I guess. These are great characters for you who haven't seen the show. Oh, the music at the end is Lottie Kestner track. I used this music actually in a recent clip I put on social media, but from the Ashley Johnson Last of Us version. I remember I read something that she didn't get credited properly, this girl, for this actually, so this is nice that they're using it in credits. I like that. So straight off the bat, this episode and possibly the episode afterwards, episode 5, it feels to me like it's just going to be one long episode and then we'll be done with the Kansas thing. Straight away, as soon as it starts, you've got Ellie and she's playing with a gun that she took from Frank's, I think it gave off a really like a Taxi Driver vibe from the Robert De Niro movie back then, and I wanted it to break out this pun book. It's called No Pun Intended by Will Livingston, and in the game you've got to do certain things and be in the correct place and wait for Ellie to get this book out, reads out a joke. It's like a secret thing in the game, and you've got to do it a handful of times, and you gain a PlayStation trophy if you get them all. I've done that. I think a lot of other people have done that, but it's not something that's obvious in the game. You've got to be at the right place at the right time for it to happen. So the fact that they've done a nod to that in this, that's really, really cool.
What is that?
It's a joke book. No Pun Intended, Volume 2 by Will Livingston.
Let's keep going.
What did the mermaid wear to her math class?
What?
An algebra. Like, algebra.
Because then it would be a foot.
That is so dumb.
Right at the beginning of this episode, they take the car scene straight out of the game. Now, this is one of my favourite scenes of the game. It's a really good comedic moment. There's some really good character building between Joel and Ellie. And this will be by far my favourite parallel of the game because it's so great that they've used the Hank Williams song to this. I really, really like that song. I really liked how they used it in The Last of Us Part 1. I really liked how they used it in the teaser trailer. So here's the parallel to this to the game, and it's definitely my favourite in the episode.
No.
What else did you get?
Well,
I got something.
here.
Let's
Make you all
make you all nostalgic.
That is actually before my
This is
time.
actually before my time.
That is
Right.
winter, though.
It's a winner, though.
It's
Light on the reading, but it's
light
got
on the
some
reading, but it
interesting
has some
photos.
interesting pictures.
No.
Kids.
Put that back. That's not for kids.
Whoa,
Ellie,
you can walk around with that thing.
please get rid of it.
Hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about.
Hold your horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about. Oh,
Why are all these
why are
pages
these
stuck
all stuck
together?
together?
I'm just fucking with you.
Fucking with you.
You know, the Hank Williams track comes in, and you see again the HBO standard. You see the amazing scenes. They pass like the FedEx depot, and you see the old abandoned roller coaster. And then shout out to like episode 3 where Bill made the joke about Arby's to Frank, and you see the gas station sign. And there's the Arby's sign for the restaurant, like a little bit of a nod to episode 3. But the scenes are beautiful when they're driving towards the bridge. It's just like the bridge you see on the Pittsburgh scenes in the game. As soon as you get to Pittsburgh, you see the bridge in the background. It's like what you need to aim for to get away. That's definitely a big nod to that. In The Last of Us Part 2, like Ellie talks to a friend about Joel liking coffee, and there's a scene where he's drinking it, he's talking about he traded it, and there's a moment there in the car and she says, oh, it tastes like burnt shit, and there's actually a scene in The Last of Us Part 2 where that actual line gets said, but I think it's by one of Ellie's friend Dina says it, I think, so.
I never got it. It tastes like burnt shit.
Thank you.
As much as she likes to joke about and she's got the pun book and then she gets really serious, and you can see the vulnerability, how she's like scared, and she's showing that in this scene. You have that moment when they're driving and he's talking about it being cargo, and again you can see the disappointment a little bit on her face, and it's really nice that they're adding in these scenes about he's talking about Tommy and how Tommy went into Desert Storm, and that clears up that little bit of a theory that people had a bit of a confusion about whose truck it was in the first episode when you saw the Desert Storm bumper sticker on the vehicle, and people were like, well, Joel or Tom? But it was clearly Tommy's vehicle, and Tommy did a stint in the army and he went over in Operation Desert Storm. This episode for me, it could have just gone full on character building all the way through with no action, and I'd have been happy with that. And of course they find themselves stuck in Kansas. Now in the game, it's based in Pittsburgh, this scene. And it's quite simple why they put it in Kansas. According to Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin, actually, the reason they used Kansas instead of Pittsburgh is quite simple, because most of this were filmed up in Canada, in Alberta area. And they said it were basically more similar to make it look like Kansas rather than Pittsburgh. It was just a geographical feature that they based it on, and it's really that simple. It weren't to do with a route or having to change it for other reasons. It was just simply for that reason and that reason alone. They run them off the road, the crash. In the game, it's a bus that takes them off the road, and then they crash into the laundromat, and it just more or less at this point, it's kind of just mirrored what you'd expect in this one.
easy.
Put your seatbelt on.
Again, just like in the second episode, you see the struggling. There's just a couple of guys, and then they get to the point where Joel has a fight with the guy who gets the upper hand on him, and then Ellie realises she has the gun. Now, this scene in the game comes up a lot later. You kind of fight your way quite far through Pittsburgh, and there's a scene where they get split up, and Joel has to fight through some infected. And then when he finally meets up with Ellie, he's fighting a guy and this guy's trying to drown him. It's very similar to what you see in the TV show. And then Ellie shoots the guy dead.
I shot the hell out of that guy, huh?
But it comes much sooner in the TV show. And Neil Druckmann's talked about this before. The guy starts talking, he starts shouting for his mum, he starts trying to reason with him. And he's humanising the enemy. Now, for those of you that have played The Last of Us Part 2, you will totally understand where they're coming from when they're trying to humanise the enemy, because that story is very much going straight down that road. And I think it's really good, and like he said in an interview that he wants to humanise the enemy, and it just gives them that added depth and that added feeling to these characters. And it's in the Last of Us world and the Last of Us stories, that's always worked really well, I think. Even though a lot of people were upset with The Last of Us Part 2, you can't deny that the story is so well written. It's so well executed. You know, a lot of people didn't like how the story went in that game, but again, you can't deny that how well it's done. And especially when it comes to humanising the enemy as well, it definitely works extremely well. Joel just gives the nod to Ellie. Okay, you need to get back behind the wall. She doesn't reason with him, she just turns her back. She accepts what's about to happen. And even though she's upset, you can see she wipes away the tears, and then she just moves on instantly. And essentially that's kind of building the character of Ellie. Finally we come to this scene, and it's where the TV show starts delving away again from the game story, and it's giving you a look into the hunters. Now in the game you just get to Pittsburgh and you need to make your way through these people who are just a threat or an obstacle, and you just need to get past them, and there's no backstory really to these people. You just know that they're just surviving brutally by killing people, stealing the things, etc. I think the cool thing is with this story, the Henry and Sam thing. Now in the game, Henry and Sam are nothing to do with these people. They're just like Joel and Ellie. They're trying to make their way through the city away from the threat, and there will be a larger group of people to begin with. But in this story, they're obviously part of this group, and they're kind of like defectors, like the Doctor is in this scene, which introduces Kathleen, how she's questioning the missing people, and especially Henry and Sam, and to this Doctor's demise, unfortunately, who said that he birthed her and he's been a doctor all these years, but it didn't bother her. She still murdered him in cold blood. 4 episodes in, and I have not had one bad thing to say. I think this is perfection at its best, this TV show. But look, don't go hating on me, guys, but this character Kathleen just isn't landing for me. I can't take this character very seriously. I like the story, and I think it's going to unfold a little bit more in the episode 5, but even though she just murdered someone in cold blood, she's not coming across very brutal. It's like a softly spoken lady, and all the people are just looking up to her like she's this brutal person, but it's just not landing like that for me. I don't know what you guys think, anybody who's watching, if you want to put it in comments, but you know, I like Melanie Linsky, I think she's a great actress, but the character, this Kathleen character, I don't know, I'm just not into it at the moment. It might change maybe in the next episode, but we'll see what happens. Enter Jeffrey Pierce. Now, one really cool thing as well I like about the show is they're bringing in the people that did the voices in the game. Obviously Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson are going to be in it later in the show, but this is a Jeffrey Pierce right here. Just close your eyes and it's Tommy. He basically plays Tommy in the game. Like, these people have been doing these voices since 2013. They're very much a part of the Last of Us world, and it's just nice for them, especially, that they've been given the opportunity to play roles in the game. And then you see all the vehicles they've clearly acquired from the Fedra trucks, you can see it says "fuck Fedra" on the back of one of the trucks, and it's spray painted over. It's basically just another militia group, if you would, like the Boston QZs just hanging on by a thread like you saw in episode 1. But most of the QZs in the big cities in the Last of Us game, they've completely gone, or they've been taken out by a militia group like this, what's overthrown, which were quite a brutal regime to start with, but it tends to lead to these other groups that are probably even worse, which is the problem. Another really cool character building scene where Joel learns Ellie how to hold the gun. Again, this scene comes a lot later in the game when she's actually using a rifle to protect him while you work your way through some enemies, and then he hands her the gun and he says it's for emergencies only, trying to do the whole talk that she shouldn't have seen that as a child, and you can see he's really struggling with it, and it is really giving off that Joel vibe from the game, where he struggles to talk about anything and other than being dismissive. And these scenes in this episode, again, are great. I really love them. And he shows her how to hold the gun, and immediately she's wiped away the tears. It's like a little bit of a nod to being accepted by him, and you can see how happy she is, and she's laughing when he's trying to take him off her. And again, these actors, they're just pulling these moments off beautifully in this game, and I can't wait for the later episodes. You know, we aren't spoiling it, and you guys who know the game, you know what's coming, and I think these guys are just going to play it just absolutely superbly. Us gamers know what's going with the Henry and Sam thing. You know, you guys that's never seen the game and you are all sad and, you know, you have the tissues for episode 3, keep hold of them. You're going to need them for this story as well. If you've seen the trailer and then the forthcoming trailer for the next episode, you'll see there's the appearance of the bloater. Now the bloater, for the guys that don't know, it's just another version of the infected that's much older. So you've seen the clickers are a lot older and they've been consumed over the face and the blind. Well, the bloater, it's like even further than that, where the infections consume the whole body, and they're much larger, they're much stronger.
This ain't gonna hold it for long. Oh, that don't sound good.
And from what I've seen in the show so far, it's showing her this and she's dismissing it because she's got tunnel vision with the Henry and Sam thing, which is obviously a stupid thing to do because this is going to be the bigger threat. I might be wrong on this, but it looks to me like they're going to team up with Henry and Sam. This is obviously going to kick off with the infected. And then I think they're going to use that as like a decoy to try and get away themselves. So I think in episode 5, you're going to see a lot of chaos when it comes to the people versus the infected. And I think that's definitely going to be a mask for them to try and get out of the city. Again, like I said in episode 2, I love how they're making Joel just look like this regular guy. He's 56, he's weak at the knees, you know, he's out of breath, and they're pulling that off very well in this, I think, and I'm glad they went down that route because even though you get all the emotion in the game, you get the relationship thing, but you do get a sense that Joel's a bit like a superhero. You know, you're tearing your way through enemy after enemy after enemy, but they're not going to portray it like that in the show, and I think it just gives him that more real feel, and I like that. I think that's one of my favourite things so far about the series. It brings me to one of probably my favourite scene of the show, and I really loved the first 10 minutes of this episode. Were amazing because it's some of my favourite parts of the game. The music, you know, the car scene, the bonding, it's amazing. But this scene right here with this joke and how Joel starts laughing, and it's just so well executed and so well acted by these guys, and how they're sniggering and laughing.
That is so goddamn stupid.
You laughed, motherfucker.
I didn't laugh.
Yes, you did.
Jesus, I'm losing it.
You're losing it big time.
It comes off so well, and it's just like the tip of the iceberg in this episode for the character development, and it's definitely my favourite scene of the show, and I thought that's where it was going to end, but it's going to be really interesting seeing the Henry and Sam thing play out, because there's going to be a couple of other characters introduced in this. One, I believe, is going to be a married couple, which is going to join in the fold, and also with the sewer scenes. I think they're going to tell a little bit of the story of what you find on the notes, because there's like a family community living in the sewers, and you see these notes from a guy called Ish. They're talking about the children and how how they're living down there and the showing all that, but when you get there in the game, that's all been long gone. All in all, I thought this was a great episode. I'm 4 episodes in now. The only negative I'm going to take out of it is just the Kathleen thing again. I'm just not buying into this character very well at all. Maybe I'll change my mind in the next episode. Anybody who's watching, I'd love to see your thoughts on it yourself. I'm not taking anything away from Melanie Linsky. I think she's a great actress, but that character just doesn't seem brutal enough to head up a regime of that kind of, brutality, if you would. So loved this episode mostly for the character building. I thought these scenes with Joel and Ellie, Pedro and Bella, I thought they were absolutely fantastic scenes in this. I really wish the episode were a bit longer. I'm really looking for episode 5, which is actually released on Friday because the Super Bowl weekend, so it's only like 4 days away now to the next episode. But anyway guys, hope you're enjoying these videos so far. This is a new channel. I separated everything from my regular channel. This is just a new channel, just for more of my hobby stuff like this. I like making these kind of videos at the moment. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, leave your comments, I'd love to discuss it with you. And with that being said guys, I shall see you in the next one. Take care.